Hey YouTube, Texas Blades here. I wanted to do an update on the Smith and Wesson HRT Black Claw. I don't remember all the specs on it. I know it's under 3 ounces. The blade's like 2 1/8 inch, and I don't remember overall or anything like that. The sheath is made out of Zytel. Now, I originally gave this knife 3 out of 10 stars. Just for the simple fact that when I got it, it was trash. I mean, we sell them, and that's kind of why I wanted to review the knife, give it an honest review, but to show how the knives look when we pull them out of the package. I mean, it was just trashed. Just didn't look good at all. So we always clean them up before we sell them, put them in the case. And that's what I did to this one. I went ahead and pulled it, but it was probably the worst one I've ever pulled out of inventory. So it just didn't look good at all. If you look at the original video, you'll see what I was talking about. So I was kind of harsh on the knife itself. I gave it a 3 out of 10, like I said. And I've had the opportunity to use this knife over the last, 2 weeks. You can see it's got a little bit of use on it. And I thought that for sure the finish would wear off, because I've been using it as a saw. In fact, those 2 pieces of wood right there were 1 piece of wood. I sawed them in half with this. I sawed a couple of handles of some tools I'm restoring for another channel. But you can see right here the finish is starting to wear off a little bit. That was like that whenever I got the knife. And then there was a big old piece of like slag right here, and then there was a bunch of stuff in between the teeth where they had cut the teeth, and it just looked really bad. So I think I was a little bit harsh on it. For what you pay for the knife, it's really thin, but for what you pay for it, you can get your money's worth out of it. If it was bigger, I would probably like the knife a whole lot better, because then you could actually use it as a saw. This thing, man, it'll run through some wood pretty quick. And I was cutting hickory handles with it, so hickory's pretty hard. It's soft enough that it it has durability and takes impact really well. But it's a pretty hard wood. I mean, hickory's not very soft, so I was cutting through handles, sledgehammer handles and a hatchet handle. I did one, and then I cut the end off of another claw hammer. So they were all pretty good sized handles, all wood handles, and it performed, just like you would think it would. Kind of reminds me of like a pruning saw, but just really small. So it will cut. It's a good little cutter. Somebody made the comment that that's not a skinner I would ever use. Well, this isn't a skinner. This is not a knife you would use for skinning, especially just because it's serrated. But the way it's shaped, I've never really seen a skinner that points out unless it's hooked. All of them that I've seen are usually, shaped like so. They bow out, not in. It's the opposite of this from what I've seen. And I don't own many skinners. I own like 3, I think, altogether, but they're all shaped the same way. So this isn't a skinner. There's a name for what kind of knife it is. I just call it a neck knife, but they make bigger versions, and it's actually modeled after something, and I have no clue. It starts with a K, Cambit, something like that. I know I just said that wrong, so you don't have to comment, but something like that. But you can see this thing does have a little bit of wear on it now, and I'm going to continue to use it, and then I'm going to start abusing it a little bit and see what it takes to actually break it, and hopefully we can catch that on film, so you can see just how much abuse the knife will take before it, gives out. I haven't done any beating on the back of it or anything. That's not what this knife is for. But if I can't break it any other way, yeah, we're going to try to split some wood with it or something. Some pieces like that, something like that. We're going to try to break it after that. I know this is just primarily a neck tool to cut, cordage with, whatever. but I want to see what it'll actually do, you know, and what it'll actually take to break the knife. So it's cheap enough that I can afford to break it. So be looking for that video to come back out, and I'm going to go ahead and change the rating on this to probably about a 5. Like I said, if it was bigger, thicker, not much thicker, because if I was using it as a saw, I would still want it thin, but just longer mainly, it would be a good little backpacking saw. I can say that. So if you was just sawing notches in some wood, it would work perfect. You know, something about that wad, it would just work perfect. So thanks for watching, YouTube.